basically the eye of a storm, the smallest active volcano in the world. And you can hear Jingle Bell Rock. One of the iconic sights you see walk through Manila are the jeepneys. My Philippines journey continues in the capital city, Manila. Unfortunately, I was met with a huge storm. My time in Manila started with a plane journey, which gives you great views of the capital city as you enter. As a child, the only real knowledge I had of Manila was the thriller in Manila, the legendary boxing fight between Muhammad Ali and Joe Frazier. But now as an adult, and knowing so much more about this great country, I wanted to explore this city, but I only had one day to do so. I started in Tondo, one of the more densely populated, rustic parts of Manila, to get a feel for the heart of the city. This area is buzzing with tuk-tuks, vans, shops and locals. It is here where you can visit a huge shopping mall called Divisoria, which I did before heading to a key area of Manila. Mabuhay and welcome to Manila in the Philippines. Now this is the capital city of this amazing country. And right now I'm in Intramuros, which is a walled part of the city, and it's the last remaining part of the Spanish influence from when they colonized the country many years ago. So today I'm going to be looking around this part of Manila, and there's many other parts of it as I possibly can, because I'm only here for one day and there's plenty to see here, so I'm going to try my best. Obviously the weather is not good. It's been very windy, very rainy, and there's even an earthquake earlier on in a different part of the Philippines. So it's, yeah, let's see how we get on. So there's a lot of people offering the tours of Intramuros, which is already becoming quite full on. That's the case with many other places. They're all mainly relaxing in the tuk-tuks, and then as soon as they see me, they spring out and all flock towards me, trying to find the next person to get a bit of money from, I think, which again is to be expected, especially because it's a rainy day. There's obviously less people around, and there's certainly less tourists around with it being the wet season. But I've just made it to the San Agustin Church, which is the oldest church in the Philippines, and it's one of the main parts of Intramuros, and it's a beautiful building. Still very warm here in Manila. It's still high 20 degrees, so you know, wearing a rain jacket, it's just too uncomfortable for me. That's why at least I'm organised for once and have an umbrella, but I see some people wearing jeans with a big raincoat and I would just fry if that was me. I stand out, as you can imagine, as a tourist here, which is why I'm getting so much attention from the tuk-tuk drivers and tour guides. That's something that I've become used to everywhere I go to, and if people are going to travel around different parts of the world, yeah, you haven't got a choice, you've got to get used to that, but it does become a bit annoying sometimes. Yeah, so this is the church, the San Agustin Church, just behind me, trying to get wet at the same time. And I'm going to keep going now, keep moving through Intramuros, because there's quite a lot here. As I said, it's the most historical site in Manila, because they were occupied by the Spaniards for so long, and this is what they built. And it's one of the only parts now still remaining from that era of the Philippines. And you can tell by, you know, the roads, the cobbled streets, the red roofs, it's very European, and it's not the same as when you're walking around the rest of Manila, which is a lot more in keeping with what you would expect from somewhere like Manila. Yeah, it's a beautiful place. It is really nice. If only we had the weather. But you know, what can you do? It's wet season. The wet season runs from about June to November here in the Philippines, roughly half of the year. Half the year dry, half wet. And that's something else that people might not know, because, oh god, look at that. Oh, umbrella problems. Jeez. With that Spanish influence, it's historic in terms of a lot of the people's names in the Philippines are Spanish influence, whether it's surnames or even first names. You'll often get people who have more of an English first name with a Spanish surname, which is quite unique for Asia especially. You wouldn't expect some of the names you get around here. It's cool. The next part of Intramuros is the Santiago Fort, which is obviously the defensive part that the Spaniards brought into place. Just walking through Intramuros now, it's pretty busy and chaotic. So I'm in the grounds of the Santiago Fort now, and one of the strange, most Filipino things ever is just behind me there's a restaurant and you can hear Jingle Bell Rock, the Christmas song. Because here, as soon as it turns September, that's where the holiday period starts. So all the restaurants, shops, all start playing the Christmas music now, start of September, even though it's, well, it's still summer, but you know, it's, that's how they do it here in the Philippines. It's quite funny. But here, it's the defensive fort built by the Spaniards, and Jose Rizal, a Filipino legend, he was imprisoned here, so it's going to be quite cool to learn a bit more about him because I don't know a lot, to be perfectly honest. I knew his name, and you see it dotted around different parts of Manila. There's even a Rizal Gardens, which I'll head to a bit later on. Because it's quite rare that I'm in a city only for one day. Normally, I would take this day off from filming because the weather is just non-stop. It's so heavy. But I've not got that luxury today, so I'm trying to persevere. See, I'm not being dramatic. Oh my god. And this isn't me being too British, you know, worrying about the weather. This is proper rain. Today there's already been an earthquake just off the coast of the Philippines, and there's been flood warnings all across Manila, which, yeah, you can see why. Even now the paths are all completely flooded. I was planning on wearing like flip-flops, but I decided to go with my trainers and they're soaked through. And I think that was some thunder as well. We're getting the full array of weather today in Manila. Little weather update, it's just starting to brighten up a little bit. Rain has got a lot quieter, it's perfect. Finally, it's been non-stop since I arrived. But Jose Rizal, he was a Filipino national hero. So when the Philippines was a colony of Spain, he led the pro-Filipino movement and helped them gain some authority and a bit more standing within the regime of Spain. But he was executed because of these thoughts and his readings and writings. So he's seen as only one of a couple of proper Filipino heroes. I'm going to head now to a park which is called Rizal Park, obviously named after him, and just get another aspect of him and something else to see in Manila. I'm not in Intramuros anymore. I'm just walking around the streets nearby and hoping to head into Rizal Park. But because of all the flooding, it makes it so much more difficult to get around. I'm in Rizal Park, but it's just getting stupid now, really. It stopped for like a second and now it's absolutely pouring down. It's diagonal. That's happening. Yeah, this might have to be cut short very soon. I'm not quite sure I'll get the full Manila experience, unfortunately. I'd say as well, I think it's just the nature of the beast, really, when you're traveling, especially when you only give yourself a single day in one place. You're not always going to get exactly what you want or the experience that you want, and that's part of life. That is part of the travel experience. But I'll keep going. It's funny as well because this is weather that I would not in a million years be out in if I was at home. Only because I'm in the Philippines, I'm like, yeah, let's go for it. I'm away, got to see these things. And it's probably why I'm getting a lot of looks from the locals. They're probably thinking, what an idiot. But you come all this way, you don't want to stay indoors the whole time, and my feet are drenched. And this is definitely going to be completely in pieces very soon. But even here, if I show you here, this flooding of the ground, that's sort of what you're dealing with. Got to stick to the very edges. Yeah, it's just hideous.
It was here that Jose Rizal was executed in 1896, and he's commemorated with this park and the tall Jose Rizal monument surrounded by Filipino flags.
This feels more like an endurance feat now than a travel experience. How much longer can I stick it out? And you know what? I think the sunglasses just complete it. I thought before, obviously don't need them. My eyes don't do great in even normal daylight. But you know what? When it's basically the eye of a storm, I'm dressed in short t-shirt, I have no rain clothes. I think the sunglasses just complete the look of someone who shouldn't be outside in this situation. I was already leaving Manila a bit later on anyway. I'm heading to the south of Manila, or the south direction of Manila, to a place called Tagaytay. It's got a big volcano and amazing views, but I mean, in this, I don't know how much I'll be able to see anyway. But I'm going to head there later on and just stay maybe a night or so, have some food up there. You can get some bulalo, which is like a beef broth, and it's meant to be really good. So I'm looking forward to sitting down, having a big, huge meal after the day I've had, because Filipino food has got to be one of the most underrated foods I've had, I think. You rarely see it in normal European cities, you know, restaurants, Filipino food. You always see Thai food, you always see Chinese food, Japanese food, Korean food, but you never see a Filipino restaurant, and the food is unbelievable.
I left Rizal Park to head to Malate, an area which has the Baywalk and Dolomite Beach. Normally this area has beautiful sunset views across a beautiful beach, so I was curious to see how it would be today.
This police go around with something. I was attempting to go to the Baywalk. It's like a long stretch of land by the ocean, by the beach, but it's just flooded all around me. I'm going to try and just see if I can get past this big tree. Bit of a balance now. Okay. I'll just keep going a bit more. But I think the police are starting to warn people now about the floods because it's just getting worse and worse. And there's a lot of traffic being stopped now. This Baywalk I'm heading to, it's meant to be a very popular area for people to hang out and relax, and there's a beach nearby it as well. But I mean, this is insane. Perhaps not surprisingly, the beach is closed. It's a bit of a mess, I think because of the storm. A lot of things are blowing all over it. Bye, thank you. Hello. Good, thank you. You? Good. Yeah, I'm good, good. Nice to you too. Nice weather. What? Yeah, yeah. See ya. Bye. Yeah, as I was saying, there's a big group of people trying to clean up the beach, trying to get it back as nice as it possibly can in the circumstances. That's good to see.
It's easy to see how nice this area is, even with the bad weather. But with the night starting to creep in, I knew I had to start making my way back to head to my next destination.
As I've been walking around Manila, I've been thinking about who I wanted to draw next, and somebody who everybody will know the voice of but might not necessarily know the name of, and her name is Lea Salonga. She was born right in this area of Manila that I'm in right now. So in Rizal Park, the area surrounding here, that's where she was born. She has done the singing voice of Jasmine from Aladdin and Mulan, and I think she's the only person to have done that, to have been the voice of 2 Disney princesses. And as a result of that, she got inducted as a Disney legend not too long ago. So do yourself a favour and just search into YouTube Lea Salonga, because her voice is just unbelievable. Just the best singing voice you can imagine. She was in Miss Saigon, the original Miss Saigon that appeared in London. She's also been in Les Miserables, and because she's voiced 2 Disney princesses, I might try and include that in some way in the drawing. I'm not quite sure how I'm going to do that yet, but because of 2 such iconic singing roles that she's had, and it's so recognisable all around the world, I feel it'd be a shame if I didn't include that in some way. One of the iconic sights you see walking through Manila are the jeepneys, which back in World War II, the American military vans, all the ones that were left over got turned into basically like a bus taxi, and they're the only place I think in the world that has these jeepneys, and they are really cool, really old looking, but they're a very popular form of transport along with the tuk-tuks.
After being out in the rain all day, I couldn't sit in these clothes for the evening as I made my way to Tagaytay. So I got in a tuk-tuk and headed to SM City Manila, which is a huge mall where I got some dry clothes and food for my journey. As expected, the famous stunning views of Tagaytay were affected by the storm, and all I had was a wall of white for my first evening. After a long day, I needed food, so I got sisig, which is mixed pork, lumpiang Shanghai, a Filipino spring roll, lechon kawali, crispy pork pieces, beef kari kari, beef in a peanut sauce, and bulalo.
So I've made it to Tagaytay, which is around 1 hour 30 away from Manila. And you can see the weather is a lot better than it was in Manila. Had a little bit of rain to start the day, but I finally made it, and the view behind me is incredible. So this is the Taal Lake, and in the centre of the Taal Lake is the Taal Volcano, which is the smallest active volcano in the world. People think the spiky bit is the volcano, but it's not. It's a little bit in the centre of this little island here. It is a very small volcano, but you can see the little bits of smoke coming out of the top because, like I said, it is active. So I had some amazing food last night when I got here from Manila. Again, just showing how unreal the Filipino food is. It's so nice. But I'm still full now. So I think I'm going to have a little walk around, just explore the local area, walk off some of this food from last night. It's so weird actually just watching it now with the smoke, you know, rising up. Yeah, it's quite weird to watch. I've been to a few volcano areas, but I don't think I've been to one before which actually smoking up, even though it's so tiny. It's barely a hill, but yeah, it's still cool.
I decided to go for a walk around the local area, and I saw a lot more jeepneys. I fancied a coffee, so I headed to Starbucks, which may be the most beautiful Starbucks in the world. All that was left for me to do was to start my drawing of Filipino superstar Lea Salonga. Even though I didn't quite get the weather I was hoping for, it didn't stop me from enjoying every second of my time in Manila. It teaches you a lesson to embrace everything when you're travelling, as it's never going to be exactly what you want. From exploring all of Intramuros and taking in its Spanish influence, to being a part of some of the most stunning landscape in Tagaytay, this leg of my trip has been unbelievable. Check out some more of my videos and subscribe to the channel.